we did have Arthur Smith come in for an interview for the Steelers offensive coordinator job yesterday. That was reported by Tom Pelissero. That's probably why he punt faked you, because he dropped the same name for the. It all makes sense now. He's like, yo, hit him with the Pelissero, because it was definitely Pelissero that dropped the link that Arthur Smith was coming in. But for those who don't know, Arthur Smith, former head coach of the Falcons, these past 3 seasons, all 3 years, they went 7-10. He got fired this offseason as soon as the season ended. Prior to that, he was with the Tennessee Titans from 2011, if I remember correctly, through 2021. That was when he first took over with the Falcons. He was started out as a quality control coach, then moved up to offensive line coach, and then from there was the tight ends coach. And then his final 3 seasons, if I remember correctly, he was the offensive coordinator down there when they went to the AFC Championship game. Tannehill, balled out, had his contract and stuff like that. Derrick Henry, obviously, going on. I think that was the year he won Offensive Player of the Year also. So with Arthur Smith, definitely more of your 12 personnel, 13 personnel, heavy run package groupings, play action pass. Think Ryan Tannehill, think Derrick Henry in terms of what he did, because that was more of him as a coordinator, whereas in Atlanta, you're watching a head coach. And I know people are going to criticize, his inability to get the most of a Bijan Robinson or a Kyle Pitts at times. We could throw in how we feel about Desmond Ridder also, but what I would say, very similar to how me and Deke, when we talked about Cliff Kingsbury, is head coach, it's a lot more responsibilities on you than just being an offensive coordinator. Offensive coordinator, you're just focusing on offense, scheme, play call, personnel. Head coach, you worried about defense, special teams, free agency, who we trading, what is the mindset, draft picks. There's a lot more on your plate. And we've seen numerous guys fail as head coaches, but thrive at times as offensive coordinators. And that's a big reason why he was even able to get the head coaching job in Atlanta, was because of what he did with Deke's second favorite quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, So that was the thing where I thought of when I'm thinking of Kenny Pickett. I'm like, yeah, we know that he's listed as QB1 based on what Coach T said. It's like, man, I do see some similarities when we talked that Tannehill guy coming over from Miami at the time, and it was like, all right, what is it? It's the first round. It's had some success, but as a whole, it hasn't lived up to what we thought it could be. Comes over here, Arthur Smith, and it kind of revitalizes itself or rewrites its career to an extent. And we obviously saw, the success that it's kind of, created for Tannehill in that, I guess, following his, work with him and stuff like that.
I hope this doesn't happen.
Yeah, talk to me, man.
Just how things played out with the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty bad. Like, not being able to get the ball to Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson, the guy that you drafted in the top, a running back, albeit too.
Fifth?
Like,
fifth overall, right?
Insane to me. Like, Robinson was considered probably one of the top picks in fantasy football this year, just because of you're getting a talented running back, a guy that you're taking in the top 10.
Run,
obviously, he's gonna have a huge role,
and
then he didn't, which is insane. And that's the thing too. Arthur Smith's known for this running style offense.
I'm with you, bro.
More of a throwback type of offense. And that's where I go back to the Titans, and I'm like, man, are we just doing more of the same stuff that we were doing with Canada? Like, by hiring him, it feels like we would just be getting back to our comfort zone. But in this case, Arthur Smith, as the OC here, is not going to have Derrick Henry.
I agree to an extent, but at the same time, I disagree. I look at it as Arthur Smith checks the boxes that Coach T said. Proven play caller. Matt Canada had never had success as offensive
I'll give you that. Better than Canada, for sure. I'll give you that.
So we've already seen him have success as a play caller in this league. He's already taken a team or been a big part of, number one, Derrick Henry becoming a monster, because early on, Derrick Henry was not a monster. Derrick Henry became a monster, though. And then when we talk Ryan Tannehill was not a $100 million quarterback prior to joining that Tennessee Titans team. And ever since he got there, that whole narrative shifted. We don't have Derrick Henry, but we do have Najee Harris. We do got Jaylen Warren. We also got Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, Connor Hayward, even Randy Williams in terms of blocking, right? So when I think of the similarities in terms of big personnel groupings, running the ball, play action pass, we don't have the A.J. Brown, but we do got the George Pickens. We got the Deontay Johnson. So that's the part where I say the similarities are you got somebody that's already had a proven system. You already had a guy that has worked with similar pieces to what we have. And it's not this guesswork of let me bring in an innovative passing guy. But if this quarterback isn't capable of doing those things, what is it going to matter anyways? Whereas when I think of what Coach Tomlin might be on is, all right, you're QB1. Well, how can I give you the best resource to make Kenny Pickett look good? Does Kenny Pickett look better with a Gerard Johnson? Or does Kenny Pickett, just based on what we've seen right now, does it feel like has a better chance to thrive with the Arthur Smith? I think that could be up for debate. But
yeah, I was going to say, I don't know.
I
don't know.
Right, but based on what we are kind of feeling, it's like, okay, we know running the ball helps him out a lot. And I think that's part of why you bring a Arthur Smith in. Now, I still like the variations of these guys, though. Gerard Johnson, a QB coach, right?
Yeah, you're getting different styles.
Early in this thing. Zach Robinson, passing game coordinator. Young, coming from McVay. All right, we talked about if the Cliff Kingsbury thing is valid or not, right? But even if it is, it's like, yo, that's another different style. Arthur Smith, okay, now we're getting, okay, this is more of what we're familiar with. This is more roots right here based on what we got. But all right, what else we got? I also like the fact that I will say this. As a dude that played in that league, man, there is no substitute for having head coaches on your staff as position coaches or coordinators. And what I mean is this, man, when you talk guys that are ever able to become head coaches in this league, their minds in terms of football are geniuses, bro. You never get that chance to get a head man. Heck, you won't even be a coordinator if you're not capable. Now, when they fail at that level, to me, I say it's a couple of things, man. It could be a bad time, or in terms of your quarterback, that don't work out. You catch the season or you catch this squad, just a bad vibe the next year or two, and we know it's quick. If you don't catch on, it's a wrap, right? But when they go back to where they got their roots at, coordinators, position coaches.
You did have some rough QBs down there with the Falcons.
But it's like when you get back to their roots, that's when you get a chance to see how exceptional these guys could be. Like, I look at myself at times and I say, man, I think I could be a coordinator right now and I think I could do it well. I think I could be a position coach, linebacker coach, anything on defense, do it well. I said, man, as a head man, I don't know where I would be because I don't know how I feel about offense like that. So if I don't have a coordinator that can do what I need him to do, I think I'm a struggle in that vein because my approach is I care about defense and special teams way more than I care about this offense thriving like that. But as a head man, you can't be like that. As a head man, you have to be able to rock in all three phases or have the guys underneath you that can rock out in all those phases. So that's the other reason why when I looked at Arthur Smith, I'm like, bro, the same way when I forgot who it was we talked to, but you listen to how some people will talk about Brandon Staley, the head coach that was out there in the charge that got fired. Listen to people talk about him when he was there, when he was the LB's coach, though, right? Listen to people talk about him when he was in Denver, bro. It's like, yo, they swear by him, man. Because when he's hyper-focused on that, oh, it's a different convo. I told you, man, Keith Butler, one of the greatest linebacker minds. I was like, yo, this is crazy. When you just focusing on this, you start putting him at coordinator, it's a little bit different. You start having to have a bigger picture. But when it was just linebackers, it's like, bro, man, find me a better teacher. I'll wait. So that's the other part. When I look at him, I'm just like, I get it. Atlanta, that's the part that makes me like, because I don't like how that looked. And I'm with you. I look at the quarterback too, and I'm like, okay, but
because even like Kingsbury's offenses with the Cardinals still look
good,
right?
But he also was able to have more of a Kyler also. Who was Atlanta had? Yeah, it was close to Kyler, bro.
They were rough. Those quarterbacks were rough down there.
That's small. I mean, so I'm like, and we know directly here in Pittsburgh what a quarterback can do just in terms of how it looks, man.
This is gonna happen, huh?
I don't know. It just feels, when I saw the name, I said, this feels really Pittsburgh, bro. I swear it felt really Pittsburgh. When I saw it, I said, yo, you see, I had to get more research on it to make myself feel better about it. But when I first saw the name, I'm like, Arthur Smith. I'm like,
it wouldn't be bad. It's not what I want. I want one of these new guys. I want to see Kenny Pickett and
with the
different
new guy.
style.
Yeah, to see if he's capable of that type of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will Smith be terrible? I don't think it'd be terrible because if you at least go back to us having Canada, Smith versus Canada.
Yeah, it's a
huge upgrade for sure.
And you're also getting a guy that when you're talking about
But what could we have? Like I hope we interview a bunch of more guys.
Well, so far the list is continuing to grow. I don't think it's going to stop.
Bring in this Kubiak.
I don't think it's stopping. I think the interviews keep going. But what I will say is this though. let's also not overlook the fact that this was, his first opportunity as a head coach and he failed. But you talk about a guy that was in that Titans organization from 2011 that started out as a quality control coach. Literally, Deke, in terms of the coaching, that's the bottom of the barrel. The guy that comes out.
It's a Steeler thing, too. He worked his way up.
That's the guy that comes out with the cards. And most of the practice squad guys looking at him like, bro, shut the heck up. Get that out my face. Like the lowest of the low. So for him to rise from that to being a head man, bro, and he didn't have to, like, he stayed in Tennessee for 10 plus and moved all the way up. That's the other part where I'm just like, let's not all the way crucify just from that extent, because
it wouldn't be.
Matters.
I don't think it'd be a terrible move.
I'm like, that
is it
matters,
what
bro.
I want? No, but I don't. I wouldn't be. I'm not going to be complaining about it.
No.
I'll sit back and say, let's see what he does.
And best case scenario is this: he's only here for 2 years. Because any of these young guys we're gonna talk about, Gerard Johnson, right? If Gerard Johnson came in here as the offensive coordinator and our offense lit it up, how long do you think Gerard Johnson is staying here before he's the next head coaching candidate, the next hot head coaching candidate? 2 years stops. So if Arthur Smith does great, 2 years. If he's terrible, let's be real, 2 years. Because that means Kenny's going to be struggling. We're going to hit the reset button on him and coordinator. So whoever we looking at, I'm taking the approach of it being a 2-year situation, because if they hot, like we say, they going to want Arthur Smith going to be a head coach again sometime. Any of these guys who are coordinators, QB coaches, passing game coordinators, they're going to want to be head coaches if they have the success that a Ben Johnson just had, right? That's the name of the game. And it's an offensive league, and we say, man, if an OC and a DC are having success, the OC is going to get way more head coaching opportunities than that DC, just because of how the name of the game is played right now.
Yep.
So best case, we're looking at 2 years with any of these dudes, man.
It's a good guy to interview. I'll say that at least. I'm not opposed to the interview.
Add to the convo, man.
Absolutely not. Especially a guy that became a head coach, like you said, off of his offensive coordinator job, and like how good he did do with the Titans and Tannehill, a guy that, I'm not the biggest fan of as a quarterback, but made that offense look pretty decent for a 3-year stretch.
We're trying to see if Bieniemy can make.
He did have Derrick Henry though. That's true. I will bring that up.
But just look at Derrick Henry early in his career. Derrick Henry was not the King Henry that we talk about now.
Yeah, for some reason
that was one of the things we would always say. He was like, he's big, but he ain't running like that. And then something changed. I don't know what it was. It might have been the timing of all of it, but it changed, and then it was King Henry. But that wasn't the case early on. We won't call that.
King Najee then.
See what I'm saying?
I don't know if that's possible.
What made Derrick Henry shift? What made the shift in Derrick Henry? Who knows? Who knows? But he was there.
Najee can't run as fast as Derrick Henry.
This is very true. What made the shift in Tannehill? Give me something positive about Kenny that Tannehill can't do.
What Kenny can do that Tannehill can't?
Because I ain't like, we can't have two negatives. There we go.
Be clutch.
All right.
Game-winning drives.
He didn't win to an AFC championship though, so he has some form of clutch.
No.
Who did they beat in that playoff game? Who did they beat in that play? Was that
that was Brady? Brady's last year up in New England.
That was.
Didn't Tannehill only have like 80 yards or something?
It did, bro. He beat Brady though. It don't matter. He beat Brady.
There was another game. It was Baltimore. It was Lamar Jackson.
That was his first playoff game.
Well, second, but yeah, his first one as like
the starter.
MVP. Yeah. 2019, he won the MVP. They were coming off the bye. I don't remember Tannehill doing that much in that game either.
He was like, don't turn the ball over, hit the occasional throw, but he was making the throws, and that was the part that surprised us all.
He was
making the throws.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He didn't in the AFC Championship game.
He was also going against who though? You see the common theme there, bro? Everything get weird when he pull up. Everything just started to get a little spooky. Mm-hmm.
Well, that was before Mahomes became Mahomes.
That was a part of the story, though. That was the first time he was crossing over.
Yeah.
That was the one.
Yeah, because he didn't have a ring at that point.
No, because he lost to Brady with the controversial Edelman. Did he touch it? Not touch it the year before. Yeah. That's when he went 50 and... Yeah. Shit. He was on a mission.
So where are we at on Smith then? You're fine with the hire if it happens?
So put it like this, man.
I am, as long as I want us to still interview
other people, though.
Everyone we can. We do our complete due diligence.
I would like for a Bieniemy interview. I would like for a Clint Kubiak interview before we... I don't mind us going with Arthur Smith, though. I promise I don't. But it's just... I would like for us to go through those guys.
It seemed very premature if we just hired him this week.
But at the same time, I don't all the way agree with it being premature just because we are starting to see coaches find spots. And when coaches are filling out spots, we're seeing coordinators go as well. And that's the part where I'm like, we don't have to rush, but I don't think we could just kind of just kick back and go through interview everybody, because as we're interviewing a Clint Kubiak, what does that tell Arthur Smith? Well, you're not satisfied with me, so let me go take another interview. What does that tell Gerard Johnson?
Well, I think Johnson's already taken some interviews other interview. Places.
Absolutely, because like, okay,
Buccaneers, Saints.
You didn't hire me, so you're telling me that my interview was not good enough then, so you still need to go see some other people. You still have other questions. All right, well, I'm going to go interview and I'm going to talk as well. And if I find somebody that love me and they love me and I love them back, like,
what's the hold up?
You can get caught. Right. So that's the other part where, like I said, we don't have to rush it, but I do think we need to have a little bit of a sense of urgency, because we are seeing, at least right now, we had a direct name that we knew was linked to us, Zach Robinson, off the board. We know these other dudes is taking multiple interviews. The more interviews they get in, let's be real, all it takes is one of them teams to love them. All it takes is one of them teams. Okay, they having a second interview now. Now we're looking at an even smaller list per se. So I just don't want the decision to be made for us. I would like for us to be the ones making the decision.